Currently 8:38 a.m. on Monday, June 24th, 2024. And as I stated is the case, the light source, not the natural environment, not the sun. I just took a picture of it so that you can see. I am inside of my leasing office right now so that you can see my real-time location. I am inside of my leasing office right now. I just stepped outside of my front door. The light source is seen outside of the leasing window, so I'm facing the leasing office window, so I'm facing the same direction that my apartment window is facing. But from building 1806, I have to walk in this direction to be in, for the light source to be in alignment with me. It's necessarily moving in order to see it outside of my living room, outside of my, well, same difference, outside of my, I'm going to get to them in a second. Outside of my leasing office window, like I'm capturing here at 8:38 in the morning in 13 seconds, I step outside of the front door. You can see it while I am stepping outside, and it's piercing over the edge of the building. The light source is not in a position where it's going to be seen outside of my living room window. So that's what I'm speaking to. First of all, this incremental observation of stalking and it's entirely demonic when you're able to look at what the entity is necessarily doing. And this is revealing what is massive demonic activity, massive demon possession. And then you're talking about that being criminalized because this is what the government is practicing. And then it's trickling down to the people of the state and everything that the demon possessed population extend to the government, in other words, in order to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring. It includes the operation of businesses, business establishments that are facilitating venues. The unnatural environment is there that by virtue of the fact that, and it is a fact that it's not the natural environment, and the fact that it is over your business establishment, there is your criminal intent to engage in criminal activity with the government. And the government is also documented stalking me at your business establishment. It's the P.O.C. Okay, so this is speaking to what is literally busting wide open a very highly malicious and entirely satanic method of surveillance by a corrupt government. It's public corruption, and it's just tainted with the fact, even more so, it's more deplorable, it's more disturbing because it is of the demonic. This is revealing also the times that we're in, and this is the demon-possessed government, demon-possessed population that are engaging in what are surveillance of an American citizen. And so it is what the government doesn't have a right to do, keep you under surveillance, doesn't have a right to stalk you, doesn't have a right to surveil you outside of any violation of the law. And they're doing so also vicariously through the people who are all around you. There's no lawful basis to do that either. And then in addition to that, they're all demons that are acting in sync with one another, and they're in a demonic environment, and that's the P.O.C., to put it in layman's terms. So what I'm capturing is the light source, and it is not in alignment with where I would be able to see it from my living room window. So just for example, you can see my apartment building, and the light source is in alignment with me. This is not seen over the same location. I can't see this while I am inside of the leasing office. This is a distinct location. This is demonic. This is giving you an up close personal with regard to seeing Satan. Okay, Satan is personified through the unnatural environment that is literally pursuing me. And it's not a figment of the imagination. I am aware of the fact that it's something that is unheard of, so I documented it, not only because I'm going to prosecute the government, but because the people need to know what I became aware of, that this is not, first of all, it's not normal to stalk strangers, but this is it's even more disturbing because, I'm sorry, it's disturbing period to stalk people. Okay, so there are multiple levels of that which is disconcerting that the target individual is going to recover for. The ordinary target individual, this is something that would cause them to question their own sanity. This is something that would reasonably terrorize someone. Okay, all of this is common sense. Okay, I'm documenting it because the world needs to know about what Satan is doing, how you are able to see Satan, that Satan wants to hide. Satan wants to be in plain sight and you not even see him, and Satan wants to be amongst the people and you not recognize him. This is revealing all of that, and the entity is doing so in a very clearly distinct location. This, which is outside of the leasing office window, this, while I step outside of my leasing office door, is where Carla Lopez is engaging in the elements of monitoring and he's going to federal prison. He's also a demon that engages in federal stalking. He's using a leaf blower while being a demon, pacing all around in engineered light. The same engineered light that you see on my ceilings inside of my bedroom. That's a demon. That's group stalking in the workplace. He's going to federal prison on more than one basis. But the light source is nowhere near being seen outside of the living room window of my apartment, which is, I can clearly show you that. This is not in alignment with each other. Here you go. The living room window where I'm inside of my apartment showing you. Yeah, this is the bedroom window. Silver Lake is group stalking, being a sex offender. This is not sunlight. This is what you're going around with a leaf blower in. And you can clearly see it on the ground, but I want you to look at this light activity, because perhaps this is what will help you understand. It's not sunlight that's covering all the property. There are a bunch of demons pacing all around, and they are, oh, I'm loading and unloading. Oh, I'm coming up and picking up the nice old lady. There are a bunch of demons in their group stalking. And you are an entire psychopath hoping that nobody knows that you're psychotic while you're group stalking someone and that you're demon possessed. Everybody that you're picking up and putting in your vehicle is demon possessed. The demons that are stalking in helicopter in concert with you are demon possessed. The demons that are driving up and down the street are demon possessed. All the demons that are living at the apartment complex and all around in relevant position, by the way, along the hillside, driving on Glendale Boulevard, working at the Arco down the street, etc., all of them are demon possessed. And you know that, as I've documented, every single place that I go, whether it's the shopping mall at 6 o'clock in the evening in Montclair, California, or whether it's the Ontario International Airport at 7 o'clock in the morning, or whether it's Alvarado Gardens in Los Angeles at 7:15 in the evening, the fake sun is over me, not the sun, in the same position, and engineered light of this manner remains around me. This is speaking to what is, there is no exception, as you are able to identify, which is the service of the P.O.C., serving the public good while prosecuting a government for in exposing public corruption, and what Satan is doing amongst the people for such a time as this. This is something that people need to know, especially those who belong to the Lord Jesus. Okay, you need to know what's going on right now. And the entity is demon possessed, and the entity is engaged in criminal conduct, and this is public corruption. This is the demise of American government, by the way. I just want to point that out to you. So there are implications also, and I'm not going to go into depth with it, but with regard to nationally what's going on in this country, and also internationally with regard to the United States dealings with other countries. So I'm just going to leave that there, because that there are there's much to be said about what you can deduce about what the state government is doing, and then what the state government is a part of our national government, and the national government is interfering in situations that are abroad, and what's going on in the U.S. with regard to what's going on in California is going on across the seas. Okay, so like I said, there are greater implications. Nonetheless, the entity is engaged in the P.O.C. while the light source, which is not the sun, is clearly moving to be in alignment with me while I'm at my leasing office. At 8:38 in the morning, while I am subject to federal group stalking and monitoring in the workplace now. This is federal group stalking and monitoring in the workplace, which is harassment, terrorism, and sexual violence as an entity that is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. Doing so, which is what I'm showing, the light source is clearly, as you can see here, it's not over the living room, outside of my living room window, while it's over me, while this demon is pacing around the vehicle. And that's exactly what he's doing. While I'm walking around the vehicle to get the light source, this demon comes around, he walks to the driver's side and then walks back. This demon is pacing. Okay, that's what he's doing. He's pacing back and forth. This is a demon. And that you also know it's a demon because of the light source that's not remaining stationary outside of my living room window, like you saw yesterday while I was off and I remained inside of my apartment. Okay, the light source remained in view of my living room window all day long. That's why I'm capturing it at 9:42. 9:42 in the morning, the light source is remaining over me through my leasing office window. It's staying right here outside in alignment to me. It's remaining right here in alignment to where I'm located, wherever that is on the property. This is not seen outside of my living room window. And this is speaking to what he is, a demon, and what he's doing, group stalking, doing so vicariously on behalf of the state. And this criminal conduct represents that which all of the people of the state, the entire apartment complex, everybody that lives here is going to federal prison. They come onto the grounds and they're acting in sync with one another. All of the people of the state are group stalking with the state that likes to use helicopters to provide evidence against the people of the state. Because that's all that it is at this point. They're providing evidence against the criminal co-conspirator. All right, the government is a terrorist. The government's criminal system is fully exposed. And now we're getting down to who's going to federal prison for it. And it's the people of the state that want to live, work, or act in sync with the state that's group stalking, which is terrorizing you and threatening your life. Those are all the people that are going to federal prison and off jump, okay? And I'm speaking to the vernacular now, like you're not even going to hesitate. You're going straight to federal prison for that. The entity wants to engage in kidnapping, you're going to federal prison as you act in any way with the government that's kidnapping an American citizen while engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring. Any way that the government is abusing its role, they don't have probable cause, you don't have reasonable suspicion, you didn't learn about any facts, you're monitoring me while my panties are down, you know exactly what's going on, you're a demon-possessed psychopath masquerading as a law enforcement officer or a fire department, and that you've got some information from the demon-possessed people of the state, providing false information, malicious information, giving up alternative facts, making it up, under the fake sun, and engineer light, while that state is stalking you in concert with the people, abusing the Welfare and Institutions Code to kidnap an American citizen, abusing the criminal justice system, making up information about the target individual to kidnap. You go to federal prison for that. And it's already a documented act by the government, who exercise fictitious prosecutions, by the way. They exercise fictitious authority while you're a group stalker. Federal prison across the board. Okay, the entity is maintaining this light source at 8:38 in the morning because it's just like I told you. I'm sorry, this isn't 8:38 in the morning yet. I have a point that I'm going to bring with regard to this demon that's acting with impunity. He's going to face enhancement to his time in federal prison. He is heavily documented coming. I mean, you've seen them. They like to come and take one for the team. And what the people of the state are going to learn is that going to federal prison with the government that's group stalking, it's not worth it. You don't want to take one for the losing team. And that's all. That message is only going to be communicated effectively where you are spending prolonged time in federal prison. Prolonged time. You're not going for 6 months. You're not going for a year. Okay, you're going for a prolonged term. And the more that you act with impunity and exhibit malice, not as an individual, as the people of the state, everybody at Alvarado Gardens who are also going to federal prison, the impunity is exhibited while one of that same entity acts on behalf of the whole entity. This is how you prosecute group conduct. And it's a matter of justice. The government's acting in sync with all of them. You only need one demon to cross path. The entity is doing it through the whole population on a ceaseless basis. All right, so the entity is doing so in the specific environment, and this is under no circumstances going to bounce, somehow be over, or neither is it in this position, which is not outside of my living room window. It's not going to be over the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court at 9:42 or 10:29 a.m., seen through over any windshield of any vehicle parked at that courthouse, like is already documented on the record. Nor is the sun capable, the natural environment consists of something that would have the so-called sun over this property, as I'm documented on an ongoing basis until after 7 p.m. in the evening. Okay, you're aware of this. What else am I showing? This is exactly what I stated as the case. The light source, that's why it's referred to that in that term. That's why I use this particular naming convention. The nomenclature applied is relevant to what is the demonic. I'm not going to refer to this as the sun because this is not the sun. I'm not even going to refer to this as anything other than a demon-possessed third party because that's exactly what he is. They're demons. So I'm not going to mince words when I've laid down the foundation for you to understand what's going on, and I'm going to use exactly the terminology that precisely applies to what's going on, and it is the criminalization for it. Now in federal court, we're not going to talk about demons and demon possession. It's relevant to terrorism. It's relevant to malice. Okay, this is the ability to prosecute what Satan is doing amongst the people. It is not in any way precluding a federal prosecution. It's not violate. You don't have a right to practice your the fact that you serve Satan while you're violating and impeding on the constitutional and human rights of another. That religious right does not exist, nor does the government have that. It does not exist. All right, the entity is engaging in what is criminal conduct that is under no circumstances immune to prosecution of federal tribunal. So while at 8:38 in the morning, this is what I'm capturing here. This is the light source that is, again, speaking to the impossibility that the sun is at the same time anywhere in position to be over me at the Andy's Burgers, which is where I'm at this time at 8:38 in the morning, and I'm documenting a group stalker in the path. The immediacy of that light source is seen by his shadow that is right in front of me, and it is not over Alvarado Gardens apartments. This is speaking to the statewide system, and they're engaged in federal stalking at the same time. You don't have to hold out your phone, by the way, to be prosecuted for federal stalking. They represent communication devices, and it's known. Both those over and under the age of majority, everybody has a cell phone. Even homeless people have cell phones. And I want to be clear, Obama provided that. Perhaps it pre-existed Obama's presidency, but Obama went to the extent to make sure that everybody, even if you don't have a job or a place to live, has a cell phone. The people of the state represent communication devices. Massive surveillance is underway on the venue of the internet, and also operation of their cell phones readily, routinely accompanies their criminal presence. And so that's just a part of the pattern of conduct. But the entity that is group stalking is engaged in federal stalking. You're going to be prosecuted for both. And by the way, federal stalking with the state is an independent basis of federal prison. And I'm basing that on the language. It follows that the language of Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2, speaks to circumstances that justify, and I'm paraphrasing, it depends on how extreme it is regarding the language under Title 18, regarding what the punishment will be. And it gets no severe and extreme and life-threatening with regard to surveillance by a government that's engaged in group stalking in concert with a population, all of whom represent communication devices. This is just based on the nature of Californians, okay, both over and under the age of majority, and through the body of evidence showing the ongoing use of communication devices and the pattern of conduct that's occurring with real-time knowledge of what I'm doing on the internet, on communication devices. All of this is speaking to Title 18 criminal activity, and it does not get any more extreme than the population and the government group stalking and engaging in federal stalking. It is an independent basis based on the criminal system for a federal prison. Yes, it justifies it. It satisfies the language requirements under Title 18. In addition to that, my point is that the light source remaining. This is Shiro's Liquor on Holt Boulevard. 846. I'm still capturing video right now. The light source is not over some Andy's Burgers in Ontario, California. The light source is over me at Andy's Burgers on this same day at the same time. That's not the sun though. Okay, nor is this anywhere seen through my living room window. It's impossible. Can't see it. While I'm inside of my living room window, if you recall, there's a wall to the right side of my window that blocks my ability to see anything over here. I point that out all the time. I can't see anything over here. And from my living room window, I would have to be facing this direction from my living room window in order to see what's going on through my leasing office window. This is the evidence of the demonic. And the fake sun moves over me with regard to what is the demonic method of stalking via an environment. What's happening in the environment is telling you the reality of what these demons are doing. And it also reveals their mental illness, because they're witnessing their exposure. Only a mentally deranged psychopath and a sex offender and a terrorist, okay, a demon, would engage in continuing that conduct to your own demise while you are aware of the fact what's being exposed about you. You have no shame with regard to both your condition and your criminal conduct. That's not a secret. All of this is reasonably deducted from the pattern of conduct and what they're engaging in. So what you inherently know while you're now being documented, including stalking in a helicopter, all of the state and the people of the state. These are psychopaths. These are the ticking time bombs. This is the public safety concern. Okay, so the entity is maintaining a light source that is the light source that's over me at Andy's Burgers. Let me be clear. I've fully documented a population of people that are currently on podcasts, in images, and in video. And every single last person is the group stalker and is also the demon possessed state and or third party actor that I expose them as. And the documentation in Los Angeles fully establishes that. But I want to be clear, even before I relocated, the pattern of conduct is beyond a reasonable doubt establishing what the entire state of California is engaging in. Coming to Los Angeles and showing what is an impossible ability to capture a pattern amongst an unnatural environment. It's impossible that I would be able to control, first of all, those circumstances. Second of all, the fact that it's anything other than exactly what I have contended. The unnatural environment is the pattern of conduct that's shared by the people of the state who are exhibiting a demonic behavioral pattern, which is highly malicious as you prosecute it, psychotic. Okay, it's also sexually violent, and terrorism and harassment as an entity, not as an individual. The government is doing so through the people. This is harassment as an entity. This is terrorism as an entity. This is sexual violence as an entity. This is stalking as an entity. Okay, the entity is engaging in what is assault and battery as an entity. All right, this is how you prosecute group conduct, and that's exactly what it is, because that's what they're doing. So the entity is maintaining this environment and doing so while I am in the workplace right now. What I want to point out about Center for Better Life, who is group stalking as I'm capturing the light source. This is where the light source is at 8:27 in the morning, right in alignment with me. And if you recall, at this location, I've told you, in other words, and not only have I told you, I showed you, and I'm going to tell you what I told you. The entity engages in the demonic behavior pattern of rising the fake sun in alignment to me. At the middle of the day, the light source is over the top of my head. And at the end of the day, the light source is setting literally from here. It's just on the opposite side of my same person. So in other words, over the apartment building that's on the opposite side of the parking lot. That's rising and setting a fake sun while I remain at one address. When I go somewhere else, such as the California DMV, where, by the way, there's no sun that's going to be seen outside of my leasing office window, when I am at the same time capturing video at 9:03 in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, Glendale police are group stalking, and so are the people of the state, while engineered lights moving across that DMV building, while I am at 8:47 standing outside of the entrance doors of that Glendale DMV. At 8:38 in the morning at the Andy's Burgers in Ontario is not seen outside of the leasing office of Alvarado Gardens, and it's also not over, the sun is not over the Glendale DMV. None of those are happening at the same time. And also what is also shown as a conclusive piece of evidence speaking to a prosecution of a government for engaging in criminal surveillance, it's not the natural environment. And so the entity is maintaining an environment where it's revealing what an entire population is doing. And in this unnatural environment, I want to expose exactly what I documented Access, LA County, engaging in. Doing so in the exact same manner when I am literally at the exact same position in the parking lot at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, where the sun would never be present at the same location. This is again 8:27 in the morning, so let's recall what the entity was doing in the same exact location, and where you're looking at the same iteration of the P.O.C. In other words, the iteration of the P.O.C. is this is the exact same criminal conduct. This is the appearance of the demonic system of federal group stalking and monitoring that Silver Lake Adult Day Healthcare engages in, and that Access LA County engages in. It's analogous to what Lyft engages in. They're just coming onto the grounds and picking someone up, and the elements of monitoring are underway. All right, but let's stick to what these malicious commercial actors do. They like to come and pick up an aged person. And I want to let you know about the deception of Satan, where there's no difference whatsoever. And every third-party group stalker, 60, 70, 80, 90 years old, because Kuhn Kang of 1800 apartment number 2, who I believe is 92 years old, she's going to federal prison. All right? And in other words, there's no respecter with regard to your age or whether you're leaned over on a walker, because you're seeing the exact same malice. And let me be clear, those demons are determined. They can't even stand up straight, but they're still going out of their way to engage in the lying awake conduct. They're still acting in sync with the LAPD, who's stalking the helicopters. They're still crossing path with regard to light activity creation and relevant positioning while I'm capturing video, like you saw Tai Yim engaging in this morning. And that demon hopped right into this van under the light source in concert with this demon who's going to federal prison. Both of them are. They're both going to go to federal prison. No walker, no aged appearance of a third party is first of all, it's not legally relevant, and it's also no preclusion to, first of all, demon possession, which is what you need to learn. This is what you're learning. And also the criminal system. Demons are very determined, and they will use whatever vessel is willing. A demon is perfectly willing to crawl on a walker and engage in the elements of monitoring. And the threat that they pose is equally potent. You're not basing the threat on the fact that that person is on a walker. I could snatch their walker and they can fall over. Let me be clear. It's still, and that's cruel. I would never do that. Even if you do serve Satan, I would never do that. The entity, I'm making a point. My point is, first of all, it's the elements of monitoring. It's light activity creation, audible activity. That demon's going to yell, "Oh my goodness, I'm in pain," or whatever language they speak. And it's audible activity creation. It's the elements of monitoring, the light source. This is what you're focusing on. The elements, the formula, what's going on in the environment. It's achieving monitoring. In addition to that, they are doing so while the entity is acting as one. So it doesn't matter whether they're a young, vital 15-year-old, like the people of the state like to extend their teenagers. They're going to be prosecuted for that. Because it's going on the books. You're going to be prosecuted for terrorism, which is a sex offense, and terrorism in the U.S. And by the way, that's justice, because in third world countries, they're teaching minor children to hold large weapons and murder people. In America, you're understanding what is not dignified and civilized under any circumstance. They're stalking American citizens. This is terrorism that's happening in the USA. I mean, you don't have any greater indication with regard to what are the end times than that. Okay, it's totally antithetical to what we are literally supposed to stand for. The basis whereby we are interfering in international relations amongst other countries, and we are in this country terrorizing American citizens. That's what they're doing to me. That's what I'm exposing. That's what I'm prosecuting. Okay, so this is the reality of what's going on here. And in this environment, this is analogous to what Access was engaging in. And so let's just recall that, because I'm standing at the exact same location on Friday, June 22nd, 2024, where the sun would never be in the same exact location. Where is it? It's at the top of my head, at the same exact parking spot in the same exact parking lot. This is revealing, first of all, demon possession. Second of all, malice, where you are recognizing what is the psychosis of those who are group stalking and their condition, which is simultaneously being exposed through their conduct, the malice with which a demon acts. It's revealing it's revealing the demon possession. Demon possession is referred to in the secular as malice. This is someone that is fully engaging in conduct that they know is wrong, that they know is inappropriate, they know it's unacceptable, for example, and they engage in it, and they also try to do it in a manner that seems or would cause one to question their motive, or cause one to not question their motives. Okay, so this is the reality of what is a malicious system. And so I want to capture this, which I documented on Friday. Give me one moment to find this. Here it is right here. And again, this is documented at 2 in the afternoon, and I'm at the same parking spot. This is P.O.C. LAPD stalking by helicopter as well. You're looking at the same pattern of conduct, coming and picking up an aged third party, same exact elements of monitoring. This is LA County engaging in terrorism with the state. You can see the light source through the windshield. It's right over. Okay, first of all, the light source you can see through the windshield. I am standing at the same exact location this morning while this demon is pacing around the vehicle to monitor me and wants to appear as though I'm doing something good for the neighborhood. I'm doing my job for this company, and they're engaging in demonic pacing. They're engaged in federal stalking simultaneously. They're doing so on behalf of a corrupt government that's monitoring me, and they're doing so in the unnatural environment, which you are, by virtue of the placement of this light source, which is not the sun. You are aware of this person's condition. You're aware that they're not acting by themselves. They're incriminating not only the population, they're incriminating the government, and you also know the person who's getting in this vehicle is also group stalking. Okay, all of this is known through the unnatural environment, and it is a phenomenon. First of all, the sun is nowhere near Andy's Burgers, nor would the sun ever be anywhere in Andy's Burgers, because you're going to use the evidence of the unnatural environment where the entity wants to presuppose that it's going to be assumed to be the natural environment, and it's not. You're going to hold the entity to that. This is exposing the terrorism that they're engaging in while they're group stalking you in a very highly malicious manner with a population, and that is necessarily the case. If the government was doing it by themselves, then they would live all around me at the property. They would engage in just parking in the parking lot and just standing there, and I've documented that. They have to do it under the malicious guises. Oh, we're arresting someone. There's a crime that's happened. Oh, we're here investigating something. Oh, there's a fire. We're putting out a fire, or we're investigating a crime that's underway. We're just here. Someone called us here. That's why we're here with our lights and sirens on. And someone is hurt. We're putting someone in the ambulance. That's called criminal summoning in the specific environment. That's the malicious guise under which the state is stalking directly, as opposed to just outright stalking in helicopters, which is what the entity is doing. 24-hour surveillance. So the entity is doing it through the people. The demons are maintaining the elements of monitoring, and this is the unnatural environment. The Access is doing the exact same thing that Center for Better Life is doing, which is exactly what Silver Lake Adult Day Healthcare is doing, while you're looking at panels of engineered light, multiple shadows on my ceiling. While that which is not the sun, that's how you know that that's a demon operating a commercial vehicle who's engaged in state surveillance. And while the entity does so, that's exposing that company whose pockets are going to be drained to a degree that has yet to be acknowledged by federal law. There are not existing damages under tortious law or anything. This is a crime committed by a commercial actor. It's not tortious. All right, it's criminal. And you're going to drain the pockets. You're going to punish by draining the pockets of that commercial actor, and they will also be exposed as terrorists, because that's what they are. It's terrorists that are also sex offenders, keeping me under surveillance inside of a private space. All right, so this is the light source that's remaining. My head. All right, this is engaging in what is a malicious pattern of conduct in concert with the government, and I am standing literally at the same exact location where you see me up at the top. This is at 8:27 in the morning. This is captured on the bottom. Access is engaging in the same thing at 2:11 in the afternoon. Let's count the hours together. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. Oh, 6 hours from now. The entity has no legitimate or reasonable, logical argument. There is no argument. There's no legally relevant basis to engage in the elements of monitoring in concert with the state that is an established stalker and terrorist, and you are doing so pursuant to a documented pattern of conduct by the people of the state. They're not engaging in a pattern of facilitating the federal stalking and monitoring. They're engaging in what the entire state of California is doing. And let me be clear, those that are in leadership positions, such as Robert Luna, such as Dominic Choi, such as Karen Bass, the mayor, are fully apprised of what the population is engaging in, because you have the evidence of what is impossible to exist, an ongoing systematic means of a pattern, not an ongoing coincidence. The clinical term for a series of coincidences, it's called a pattern. And you also document it because government actors and the population are given an unlawful and it's an unjust basis of legitimacy. However, I understand it, and it's not about what you know, it's about what you can prove. And so that's what the P.O.C. shows. It is establishing beyond a reasonable doubt what the people of the state are doing and who they are doing it for in concert with. And they're doing it in concert with the people of the state and the state itself. While I am at this same property, there's no sun that was ever at the courthouse. While I am at this same property, the entity are maintaining ongoing demonic methods of keeping someone under surveillance. They're walking around in engineered light. It's not sunlight. It's the same engineered light you see on my ceiling. As you look at it all over my ceilings, this has nothing to do with sunlight. This is what's covering all the property. This isn't sunlight. This is revealing a demonic environment and demonic behaviors by a population who are keeping someone under surveillance. This is the light source that's remaining over me through my leasing office window at 9:07 in the morning. And like I stated, the driver of that Access vehicle is going to federal prison. all of speaker companies, the employees are group stalking on the job. You're going to federal prison for that. The corporate office engaging in criminal obstruction of justice, threatening my well-being, my job, while you're terrorizing me on the job, and engaging in the pattern of criminal obstruction of justice. Heather Till's not only going to federal prison, Heather Till literally engaged in the textbook form of obstruction of justice. She's going to federal prison for that. All right, and it's not just her, but I'm going to specifically identify her because this is a lesson upon prosecuting the state. The entity is engaging in conduct that is just, and it is, as I have described it, an absurd level of psychotic psychotic behavior and malice. The federal government will not tolerate it, period. You're not getting away with it, and it is not a secret, and you will serve time in federal prison. You will lose your freedom. You will lose any and everything that you think that you own, or whatever reputation and power or influence you think you have. No, you do not. You are not above the law. And you will suffer what justice requires that you suffer, where you think that you can strip down a person of their reputation, of their ability to support themselves, of their ability to have just basic fundamental rights with regards to your policy, privacy, and just living your life. That's animalistic behavior. Okay, and like I said, animals that are posing such a threat, they belong in cages. And you have a lot of people that are documenting. I want to be clear, the P.O.C. is also on a podcast. Documentation gathered over a term of years, concluding as of July, well, not concluding, but taking a pause as of July 2022. And it is in sync with what LA is doing. And while I'm in a different location, and I put that different in air quotes, in a distinct region where the pattern of conduct is fully highlighted. It is literally like underscored and highlighted, and it's like a neon sign, P.O.C., this is P.O.C., where I'm showing you what they were doing in sync with an entirely different area. And I'm in an entirely different region. There's no sun that's over Andy's Burgers while it's remaining outside of my leasing office. The sun is not rising and setting through the windows of one apartment. That's non-movement. That's exclusivity with regard to the so-called sun. It's the same exact P.O.C. Where the entity is stalking in helicopters. That's a spectacular aspect of the pattern of conduct and the engineered light. And then you have a whole population which is revealing what is very disturbing and unfortunate, but it's the truth and you need to know it. Demon possession is very popular. And it is literally what is the why, the how you have a population literally mirror the identical behavioral pattern in a demonic environment amongst people who you don't even need to know. The demons that are driving to the Starbucks are not necessarily familiar or know the Starbucks employees, but you have those demons acting in sync while demons are stalking in police vehicles and in helicopters, and that which is not the sun is over me at the random Starbucks, whatever Starbucks I stop at. That's the pattern of conduct by the state. All right, it is currently 9:10 a.m. This is P.O.C.